Hey guys, Monday video 2. In this video we're going to talk about analysis versus description. So I have 4 sentences here that are all pretty terrible sentences, and we're going to correct them so that you can avoid some of the most common errors when writing the rhetorical analysis. If at the end of the video we have time, I'll show you 2 papers. One is a paper that needs a lot of work, and one is a paper that blew my mind. So this first sentence here, the background is shrouded with black and blue coloring. So would you guys describe this as an analysis or a description? Basically the what versus the why. So description equals what's going on, something that exists, and analysis equals why that thing exists. So what would this be? If you said description, you're correct. Most of the time when the be verb is in the sentence, it's description. It's just a simple explanation of something that exists. So the background is shrouded with black and blue coloring. What might that mean, though? How could we add meaning to this? And that is the analysis. Why is it important that in your paper you're talking about the black and blue coloring? This is a great word to use, but what should I take away from this as a reader? So a way that you can kind of force yourself into analysis that I recommend to students is using the words showing, describing, depicting, just any of these types of phrases that you can kind of tack on as you start to do analysis. I've highlighted in your third writing response the places where you do a good job of analysis, but a lot of you are only beginning to touch the surface. So the background is shrouded with black and blue coloring, showing the dark nature of the purge, who knows, like whatever, or the mystery behind the night, or whatever this black and blue, or just black or just blue, or whatever the implications of that are, then you would put them here. So just be very clear about why things are important in your descriptions and also in your analysis. Don't assume that it's obvious to the reader, because unless you say it on the page, I don't know that you can analyze or know that you are knowledgeable of what you're talking about, essentially. So I can't just assume it. I know you're all really smart. I've read all your free writes and your writing responses, but prove it yet again in your rhetorical analysis. Remember that all writing is a form of persuasion, so use this space to persuade your critical thinking skills in terms of rhetorical analysis. All right, so again, what are the implications of this black and blue shrouding? Okay, so how to use the rhetorical elements like ethos, pathos, and logos. The pathos of this movie poster is mostly sadness, but has some anger in it as well. So again, this is a telling / description sentence. We have the to be verb here, and the pathos is normally, it's not like, you don't use it in a subject and then verb sense. You use it in like the pathos is being used in this way, or you can even just cut out the word pathos and go straight to the emotional appeal. So if you mention any kind of emotion, I will understand immediately you're talking about pathos. You don't need to use the exact Greek words where a lot of the rhetoric comes from. So how would we change this then? It's not only a description. I don't know why this matters, the anger and the sadness, but it's also not a really strong use of the word pathos. So you can use something like the movie poster depicts a range of emotions, namely sadness and anger, revealing X. Okay, so this is similar to what we just did up here with showing something, depicting, describing, etc. So the movie poster, or even better, the creator or the producer, etc., whoever created this movie poster, depicts a range of emotions, namely sadness and anger. And then, so this is all telling me everything, but what is the analysis? And that's where you add this here. I can't add them because they're going to be different for each paper, and you guys are the authors, so it is your explication to make it clear to me. I think the movie poster author added touches of cross-lighting. Okay. So in your papers, go ahead and cut out things like I think, I believe, I hope, I wonder, I muse, etc. That's clear. When you're writing your own paper, it's clear that if your name's attached to it, then yes, these are your ideas and your thoughts. So just cut out I think, I believe, etc. They just take up words in your word count. So the movie poster author, this can also be shortened with the creator or the producer or whatever we just said. So the creator added touches of cross-lighting. I don't really know what this is unless you've established it in the paper. Cross-lighting, does that mean lighting that's being like crossed in the image? I'm not sure. So I would just highlight this and I would comment, what does this mean? And also, why is it important? So the creator added touches of this so-called cross-lighting. What is that and why is that important? Again, what does it mean? So you could even have a separate sentence. This technique of lighting, or this lighting technique, demonstrates the creator's desire to add levels of uncertainty, which makes the eye jump from object to object to object. Who knows, right? It creates a display of chaos, which is reflective in something like the Hunger Games or the Purge or another. A lot of them are chaotic / lonely images, but just be specific here. All right, the last one. So I believe the target audience is all of America. This sounds terrible. I have heard it before, maybe not quite this broken down. So again, delete those I believes. And the target audience is all of America. This is again a description sentence because we have just the be verb, and something like this, all of America, I'm already skeptical. What is all of America? Who can account for that? Have you surveyed everyone? Have you talked to the creators, the producers? Have you talked to Suzanne Collins to ask about the target audience? So immediately I would highlight this and I would say who specifically. I am going to be a jerk with a lot of these things to make your writing more specific, make it stronger. You have the burden of proof in most of your persuasive attempts. So just make it easier for yourself and less for me, so I have to comment less on your drafts. But so the target audience, even if it is all of America, which again I'm going to highlight that, what's the message here? How's that important? It's the why in the analysis. Okay, so again, description equals what, analysis equals why. Okay, so let's look at a sample paper. This was an actual paper written by a student a year ago, and this one, not only is it severely under word count, it's barely half of the word count, it's super vague. So we have a title. This is again based on the political cartoon that I'm constantly referencing, the Look How Far We've Come by Rob Rogers. So racism in America, I already know pretty much nothing because this is such a giant vague title. Racism is very prevalent in today's society. This is probably the sentence that I've said not to do in your introductions. Rob Rogers, so we have a name, takes on racism in his 2014 political cartoon Loud Music, so these need to be capitalized, the L and the M. It's not only effective, but also highlights the issue in a serious but sarcastic way. So that's not too bad of a thesis statement, but in terms of an entire introduction and also the polished elements, it doesn't inform the reader too much of what to expect in the paper. He compares two similar situations from different time periods to make his point credible. Okay, I don't know what the similar situations are. I don't know what the time periods are. He uses textual elements, visual elements, and purpose to convey his message. Yes, almost every single political cartoon or visual text or written text does this, as we have been finding out. So really, I don't know very much at all. I know that Rob Rogers' loud music is effective, according to this author. There's some sarcasm, it's serious, and that's pretty much it. So again, be specific. All right, so this author, we won't go through the whole paper, but essentially she, all of this is just background. There's also no citation, so this is technically plagiarism. We caught it early, so that's good. Here again, there's no citation. This is also just more background. It's a simple summary taken off of a website. The author's name is spelled incorrectly. And then this here, she's talking a little bit about alignment. And this is a descriptive sentence. And here we have kind of a little bit of description versus analysis. So he makes sure that in the background of the two main headstones, that the black headstones are the smallest and furthest away. So we would take a look to make sure that this is accurate. And then he also made the white headstones a little bigger to illustrate white supremacy. So this might be an interpretation of the author that is definitely edging into the analysis zone. So I'm glad that the author challenged herself to start to analyze. But again, it's mostly description. So here we have the same thing happening, just a summary of what she's already said. And then here's her conclusion. It is two sentences. And again, all obvious information, and there's no works cited. Okay, so this would automatically receive an F. It's not complete, and then I would provide a lot of feedback for the student on how to really dip into analysis, how not to plagiarize, how to improve the introduction conclusion, how not to have just information summarized from a website. Okay, a lot of you, I'm asking in your free writes more specific questions to prevent anything like this from happening, so just be aware that it can happen, but this is a very, very rare case. So here's a much better example. It's like the examples that I've already posted online. There are two of those, and those were really strong papers. So this is a different political cartoon. It's about the environment and not race. So we have "Save the Trees" is a motto of almost every American. Almost every American has heard before. That's her hook. You can kind of decide whether you keep reading or not. We have a thesis statement that is more specific. I know who we're talking about, where it was published, the title, effective, yes, and then we have all of these things that act as a roadmap for her paper. All right, so let's find a good sentence. This, she summarizes a poem that was used in, a line from it was used in the political cartoon, and here would be analysis. So she describes a little bit of summary here, and then she says, just like many environmentalists are attempting to prove today, if we do not save our forests now, we may never be able to when we finally want to. So it's a little wordy, it's not exactly clear, but it is dipping into analysis, as this is just saying the poem exists. Here's a little bit of information about the poem. This is saying why the poem is, why Block included that line from the poem in the political cartoon. Okay. Then she goes into the text a little bit more. It shows, being the main focus, shows us, so she's using the analysis language. It shows, it demonstrates, it acknowledges, it emphasizes that this was Block's main concern at the time, and he wanted to make it very evident that something needed to be done before time ran out, etc., etc. Okay, so you get the picture. Use that kind of vocabulary rather than just simple be verbs. And hopefully this was not too boring of a video, but I know we're edging the end of the rhetorical analysis unit. So let me know if you have questions, and stick around for tomorrow's videos.